A lot of people reach out to me and they tell me that they have no idea where to turn for advice on their upcoming cruise. And I tell them that it's actually super easy for them to access a network of dozens of experts that you can lean on for that cruise. You know, a group who sailed on your cruise line before, even on that specific ship, and has some great insights to share. Or those who've done hours and hours of research on the best excursions to book so that you don't have to. Or even those who've been to a port so many times that they can list each of the benefits and drawbacks of every single all-inclusive beach in the area. If you've watched my videos, you know that I love the planning process, but part of that process is knowing how to access the experts who can help you guide the way. Let me share my tip. It's free and you might be surprised at how easy it is. Ahoy sailors, my name is Rob and I'm here to tackle Virgin Voyages one topic at a time. Welcome to OVT. So you've booked your cruise and now you're likely going to fall into one of two groups of cruisers. Either you're going to do some work in advance to make sure that you're taking full advantage of the ship, the restaurants, the activities, and of course, all of the ports that you're going to be visiting. Or your work is done and you don't want to do anything else until you board the ship because of course you can figure it out all on board and you can even book your shore excursions from the desk on the ship if that's what you want. For those of you who want to do some advanced planning, I have some really simple advice. Many of you already know that you can follow a cruise line on social media and maybe even know that you can follow a specific ship, like Virgin Scarlet Lady, for example. There are some great groups out there where you can read about cruisers' experiences, you can see photos, and you can even learn a thing or two. But did you know that your specific sailing likely has its own private group on Facebook? Why is that important? Well, first of all, it's a great way to connect with people who are going to be on your cruise. But more importantly, most of the conversations will be totally relevant to you. I've been part of a Virgin Scarlet Lady generic cruisers group for a couple of years, but we typically cruise through the Caribbean, and that ship spends its entire summers in Europe. Is the content about rough seas in the Mediterranean relevant to me right now? Not really. And do I find myself scrolling right past most of those posts? I do. If you join your specific sailings Facebook group, you'll see discussions about embarkation hacks. You'll read about tips on what time to book your dinners so that you don't book too early while you're still on shore or so late that you're going to miss the shows. You'll see advice on the best places to get a margarita in port or the excursion company that has the best air-conditioned buses. I don't know. Okay, maybe that isn't your biggest concern, but you get the idea here. The discussions are much more likely to be relevant to you in these groups. How many of you follow your cruise line or even your ship on social media before you sail? And how many of you actually follow your specific sailing? Leave a comment below, and while we're paused, please take a second to hit that like button. And if you're enjoying my videos, please also hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss any of my future episodes. Thank you in advance. This past winter, we sailed on Scarlet Lady, and I did join the Facebook group for our sailing. There were about 400 people in the group, and the discussions were really interesting and fruitful. I had made the decision to book a private tour of a sloth sanctuary in Roatan, Honduras, mostly because the organized tours also did other things like beach visits or ATV rides, and we really just wanted to hug a sloth and then get back on board for some pool time. I had spoken to the owner of the tour company, and he said that it would cost about $40, including the bus ride, but that could drop down to $25 per person if we came as a group of 4 or more. I posted in our group explaining what we were doing and that we needed 2 more people. Well, the discussion grew, and people tagged others or they invited others to join the chat, and before you knew it, we had secured a group of 26 people. I felt a little bit like Julie McCoy, the cruise director of the Love Boat, but I loved it. I loved the excursion. I loved the people that we brought together and the fact that I'm still in touch with probably about half of them. Ahoy sailors. I guess in this case, it was the others in our group that benefited the most after all, in addition to getting to meet me. They got a great excursion for $90 or $100 less than almost everybody else paid. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I also learned a lot in that group. We're actually sailing to Alaska the end of August, and I found the Facebook group for that trip. We've never been to Alaska, and the one thing that I do know is that I have a lot to learn. It's not just different ports. From what I understand, it's a completely different kind of cruise experience. Luckily, there are a handful of cruisers in that group who've been on that ship many times before, and they're sharing some incredible advice. And then we're back on Virgin in February of next year, and I've joined that group as well. We'll be heading down to the Southern Caribbean and docking at islands that I've never been to before. So sure, there will be some opportunities for me to input and share my insights, but I know that I'm going to be leaning on others pretty heavily for this. So How do you find your cruise group? If you're on Facebook, it's actually really easy. Just go to the top left where it says search Facebook and enter your cruise details. For example, enter Virgin Valiant Lady, February 28. Hit enter, and then some options should pop up in the middle of your screen. Find the sailing, and then just hit the join button on the right. Sometimes you might get a question about whether you're already booked on that sailing, but often you'll just get automatically added to the group. Drop a comment in the discussion like hello from Toronto, Canada, and see how nice and how engaging the group is. Check out the things that people are talking about from time to time. And then if you need advice, this is truly one of the best places to get it. Well, that's cruising with a network of experts, and that's my one Virgin topic for today. Do you have any questions? Are there any topics that you'd like to hear about? Leave me a message below. And until next time, ahoy sailor.